Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
But let's discuss some of the factors which are playing on investors' minds. Rostow Ravanan, the MD and CEO of Mindtree, joins in now. Hi, Rostow. Good morning. First, let me start with this enabling resolution of 150 crores or 10% of your last 3 years' profit, whichever is higher, which will be spent by the company as an endowment to Stanford University. Now, people are a bit anxious because this amount, 150 crores, appears to be a bit high and it could dilute your margins. Your thoughts on it?
Hi, thank you. Good morning. Happy to be here. And maybe you probably started off on the right note. I think there's a complete misperception that's crept into the investor community. What we did was to seek an enabling resolution to make a contribution of up to 150 crores or 10% of profit that you said. But that whole amount is not going to Stanford, and the whole amount is not going also overnight. Like you saw in the press release that we announced and we shared with your journalists yesterday in the earnings release as well, what we have committed to Stanford at the moment is just $2 million. We are exploring 1 or 2 more university collaboration relationships there, and maybe we'll spend a little bit more. But I think the maximum amount this year will probably not exceed more than $4 million across all the relationships that we had. The background to that enabling resolution is that we have our annual regular CSR spend. Some of these endowments will also get counted as a donation, and therefore we needed approval from shareholders to make that. And when you go to shareholders, you would rather take something on the slightly higher side so that you don't have to keep going back again and again. That was the background to that enabling resolution. But the maximum spend this year will probably not exceed $4 million. I also want to reiterate the point that we shared on CNBC and other channels yesterday, as well as the comments made to the analyst on the day of the earnings release. In spite of these contributions, our comment on improving margins in FY19 compared to FY18 still stands on a constant currency basis. Anything that happens on currency is over and above that, but on an operational basis, on a constant currency basis, in spite of these contributions, we will improve profits this year. Nothing has happened to change our stand. We just want to take the opportunity to clarify that misunderstanding that's crept in.
Okay, Ross, so good morning. So it's good to hear that $4 million is the maximum that you will be spending on collaborations. Since you are clarifying a lot of the concerns, let me put one more force to you. The CFO resignation. Of course, CFOs resign everywhere, but the fear this time around was that Mr. Chakraborty resigned with immediate effect and did not stay on board till the new CFO was appointed and a smooth transition was done. Your comments on that?
Again, thank you for raising that. It's just my philosophy at a leadership team level. If there is somebody who's reached a point where they'd like to explore opportunities outside, completely understand, completely support that process, but just don't want prolonged transitions, because then it becomes difficult for the individual and for the organization. In our case, we also had the 2 additional comfort factors. I ran that function for 11 years. So I understand that function very, very well. And there's a very strong second-level leadership. So which is why we are quite comfortable to release Jagan early. So he also goes with a clean frame of mind, goes and does something new with his life. And we continue as well there. We made an offer to a candidate. The candidate has accepted. He should join us in due course towards maybe end September, early October kind of a time frame after completing his notice period. But in our case, like I said, I just prefer not to have prolonged transitions.
Okay, Rostow, hi, good morning. Let's talk about some of the positive factors here then. This revenue growth was quite stupendous, and especially in digital, which is now 47% of your overall revenue. Can you maintain this pace?
That's our intent. I think we announced in the beginning of the year that we expect FY19 to be a very strong growth year. If you see over the last 3 or 4 quarters, every quarter we've been accelerating revenue growth, good deal wins, good pipelines, increasing win ratios. So many things are going well for us based on the strategy and the investments that we have made. So hope that we should continue a strong growth momentum for the year. The only thing is I'd rather not set any expectations for Q2 because Q1 was very, very strong. So I don't want to set any expectations on maintaining a similar growth rate for Q2 at the moment. But nonetheless, completely stand by the commitment we made in the beginning of the year that this year will be a strong revenue growth year and we will improve margins over last year.
Rostow, let me come back to the CSR spend or the endowment point. So what you're trying to say is that, 150, the company is not likely to spend the entire amount of 150 crore. And should we expect this $4 million spend, which is about 25 to 30 crores at the current rupee rate, as roughly the annual spend by Mindtree on their CSR activities across various university and funds?
No, whatever we are doing regularly on our CSR activities is outside that $4 million that I mentioned to you. So, there are things that we do. This is a very strong part of the soul and the culture of Mindtree. But that is happening every year from the day Mindtree started. It happened last year, it's happening this year. So, this is the additional amount we are spending on collaborating with reading research universities. Like I said, this is what we think we will do this year. Difficult to predict, how some of this will shape up because all of these are absolutely brand new areas. It's quite likely that quite unlikely that we'll do something like this continuously. But the $4 million is roughly what we think we will spend this year. But we'd like to again reassure, whatever we do, more or less doesn't take us away from our margin guidance that we had given.
All right. Rostow, thanks a lot for your time today. Good talking to you. All the best for next few quarters. The Mindtree stock